I it's hilarious to me how you have a series like Chainsaw Man where it's in Weekly Shonen Jump. It's a Weekly Shonen Jump series. It's not one of these ones owned by the magazine that's more lewd. But Chainsaw Man having an 18 plus chapter that you can only read on their website, you couldn't see it on the app. I thought that was hilarious. And it's like the concept, contents rather of the chapter is like, oh, is it something like crazy? I mean, it's mostly just the color spread. The color spread mostly of just being like a lesbian orgy. It's like, who tells like Fujimoto like at any point when he's going too far? I don't know. We know there's limits that he can do, but who knows the extent? I feel like with the success of Chainsaw Man, they're just like, we don't give a fuck. Just go ahead, do your thing, man. It's working out. It's making us money. People are happy. The customers are enjoying your series. We're good. Which it makes sense, and I do love that about Chainsaw Man. I think it's an absolutely fun series, and looks like Undead Unluck is further showing that the crazy series is going to be the next craze. Just these wild, unpredictable series. But chapter starts out, you get a little bit from each of the assassin groups. You see Tolka, and him coming up with his master. You see the remainder of the three brothers just muttering how he's immortal. Santa Claus's puppets, and you get the fiend harem. It looks like they're I guess just in some big orgy. I don't know, but it's a very interesting way to start up a chapter. But do your thing, Fujimoto. Like I said, if this is what works for you, do what works for you, my guy. Anyway, you the chapter after that point, you have this kind of just massacred building, and Makima, who's like walking around with all of these like dead puppets, noticing he's like saying, "Oh, well, Santa Claus is in Japan. We got to clean up these. We got to clean up all these dolls." And Beam, you go find and guard Denji. Yeah, and the spider devil that we actually have a name for, Prinz. I'm trying to figure out that name. Like, what is Prinz? Maybe it's something in another language. Maybe if I looked it up, it would be something there. Because power is we know hers is directly related to like her kind of like constant want to flex. Beams, I'm not too sure about yet, but I haven't done a lot of like looking into the idea behind it. Prince, I'm just very curious about. But saying how Makima's saying how Germany has all kinds of devils at their disposal. We don't know. They have no idea what Santa Claus is going to be coming in overall. It looks like the dolls, though, were at least when we can kind of go with his main thing, his main kind of way of using his powers, which makes sense, and we can kind of relate it to like Santa Claus and his elves making toys, and you have this Santa Claus with his puppet killer folk. But what else he has is the question. What else they can kind of do as they can kind of like worry about. And Makima, I think, is smart about it because she's saying we need to retrieve as many of our people's bodies as you can. And my guess is it's not just we're pulling out the bodies just to pull them up for like funeral purposes or something. I think it's more of we're gonna take these bodies and examine them to try and figuring out maybe any hints at what other devils that Santa Claus has contracted on him, because we already know that Makima has labeled Santa Claus as the most dangerous out of these guys and the biggest threat. So her obviously putting a lot of emphasis on the investigation of him is going to really just show Makima's worry, but also as we've seen, he's a big deal and he's a weirdie, but a big deal. Then we see some of the other members of that squad. That one glasses. I remember Yoshida's name. He's the one with the little mole on his on his face, and he slaughtered one of the three brothers. This guy, it's the kind of like nerdy, very uptight guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he ends up having like this, like it's not I was gonna say magic circle, but it's a pentagram. That's the word I'm looking for. This pentagram blows like dust at a bunch of these dolls, turns them to stone. And so we know his is the Stone Devil. Easy to go off of, easy to understand. He can apparently breathe this powder onto people and turn them into stone. And they're talking about it's the Doll Devil that Santa Claus is using. Makes sense. But if you touch them, you'll get turned into a doll. You'll get turned into one of his minions. And it seems that the way that you can fight him that's actually immune to him is if you are a fiend or a devil. You are, as long as you're not human, seemingly it looks like it'll work with you. And we know Power of it. Oh, sorry, hiccup right there. Power obviously a fiend, and then Denji's not. He's not human. We don't have a name for them yet. With these humans with devil hearts, but obviously, he's got devil powers. He's practically immortal. He's in fact, he's probably the most immortal character we've seen so far. Him not being like affected by it makes sense. We just don't have an official name for these guys, and it makes sense also from what we can tell. It's like there's obviously a lot of humans, there's a lot of devils, there's fiends. There's not obviously a ton of fiends, but there's even less of these humans with devil hearts. I've just been calling them hybrids for now until we get a proper name for them. But after that point, they're like saying like we don't know how many dolls this guy can make. We don't know the extent of his powers. And then just like a whole horde of guys just rush in and like there's too many, we need to retreat. That's when we find out that Power and Denji can't touch these dolls. Which I wonder why Denji doesn't pull the cord on his chest. Maybe he's saving it to go against these guys. One dude brings out his contract. He does the whole cone. I'm guessing maybe the Fox Devil. Fox Devil, I think they said, has a lot of contracts, unless it's some other just some other plain animal kind of contract. But after that point, it's still just building up a lot of these guys. It's really establishing all these other assassins. You have the woman just waiting for Toko to do his job. She looks just like she's mostly just oversight. She's just watching patiently, interested to see how it goes. And you see one of the three brothers who's just psychotic, like he's in a cell. Like you can tell that he doesn't want to do this, but he doesn't want to let his brothers down because he knows that that's what they want to do. But also that he's trying to like further push that mentality of them being immortal. Meanwhile, like Santa Claus is just like sitting. He's just watching. He's like in a cafe just drinking coffee, monitoring things. I'm guessing for him, like this isn't really like the assault. I don't think he believes that this whole attack is going to be it would be successful. I'm sure he's just like, oh no, they're going to get away from this. But it's to gather data. It's the you're figuring out stuff about your prey. You are finding out how they fight. You're finding out about their mentality. You're finding out about like the amount of people involved. And then he'll bring in more. Like he even says at one point, he's like, it's time for the present. I'm guessing that's when he, reveals like a bigger devil. Because this is going to, like, I imagine the doll devil, like I said, is his most common one. Like his, he mostly just makes little fodder soldiers with him. So I'm guessing that he's going to start busting out some of his like crazy ones. Something that he, it's going to be a little bit heavier. Like maybe he can combine them into like one big, like weird Voltron doll construct. Meanwhile, here's what was her name? Was it Xiao Mei? I think was her name. The Chinese hard to pronounce. She's just like having like it's just like you have all these other guys like prepped up, ready to attack and do all this stuff, and she just lesbian orgy. Is this what she's gonna do? Like the whole arc? I mean, maybe she'll that'll be an interesting way to just like for her to be revealed of like, oh, why did you waited until everyone else was like exhausted and tired before attacking? What was the plan of planning? Was this like, oh, we're just like, having like big orgy times? I do your thing, I guess, but still, it's comedic to me, and the fact that this is like what her character is just constantly like being pushed towards, like every single time, like right now in the last couple chapters, it's like, all right, we're ready. Okay, no, we're too tired, not ready. Let's just fuck. I mean, do your thing, but still. Anyway, fun chapter. I like the cool setup that has to do with some of these other assassins. I'm looking forward to seeing what Santa Claus's crazy contracts are, because I'm guessing he's going to have the largest set of abilities at his disposal. And obviously, it's the most experienced, and the one Makima herself sees as the biggest threat. That's going to really play into a lot of weight behind the guy. But other than that, comment below. Tell me what your thoughts are about this chapter and what's going on right now. I really want to see what some of these characters are going to I want to know what they're going to have to say when they see Denji in his chainsaw form. But other than that, I really appreciate the thumbs up the video, from the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. When I appreciate it, already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.